Well, Tesla at the beginning of July, as it usually does, put out its deliveries and production report. So there are going to be no surprises on the number of cars that they made or shipped. The debate now on Tesla is all about profitability. The company has said in Q3 and Q4 it believes it can be profitable and that it can be cash flow positive. This is from a company that we think cash flow could be down $700 million this quarter. The last several quarters, they've been burning through almost $1 billion a quarter. So this is a big inflection point that they're calling for in the second half. And so I think tonight is all about, can Tesla management communicate and convince investors that they can responsibly get to net income and cash flow neutral or positive in the second half, and how they get there. That to me is the debate. The production debate around Model 3, can they make it, what the run rate is, I think that's largely behind us now. Tesla hit its target of 5,000 cars a week, was a bit above that for a couple more weeks, seems to be doing about 4,000 cars a week now. Now the investor debate really shifts to profitability and cash.
I hear you. I mean, but part of the issue is the debate is now a lot about Musk's own behavior, is it not? I mean, you have the open letter from Gene Munster, which I'm sure you saw, of a couple of weeks ago, where he writes, and I quote, "Your behavior is fueling an unhelpful perception of your leadership, thin-skinned and short-tempered," urges him to ignore the short sellers. That didn't last long, because as of last night, David Einhorn of Greenlight, in his own letter to investors, was revealing how he was giving up his lease on a Tesla, to which Elon Musk tweeted at 3:46 in the morning, "Tragic, we'll send Einhorn a box of shorts to comfort him through this difficult time." So how do you assess everything you just said about the fundamentals against however you want to characterize the behavior of the CEO?
Well, look, I mean, Elon's behavior has been different from your typical CEO for years. And I think investors have come to take what they perceive to be the good with the bad, that he's a truly visionary leader, a true change agent in every positive sense of the word. But folks who are wired that way are often, see the world in a different light. He sees the world, and that creates insight for him in terms of new business opportunities. But, his CEO-like characteristics are different from the average CEO. So, yes, there is some frustration around investors, but I think the fear is more that, boy, at some point could his behavior lead to his taking a more reduced role at the company? And I don't think investors would like that, generally speaking. So when the stock reacts negatively to, quote, Elon behavior issues, I don't think it's because they don't think that he's running the company well. I think it's they fear, boy, there's a risk that he might get pushed aside or replaced with a new CEO or forced to take on a diminished role, and that would be bad for the company.
I'm more wondering, for a CEO who has seemingly been given the benefit of the doubt by his loyalists, and that in part has helped keep the stock up in the face of questionable, I think you could say, fundamentals. Does his behavior at some point cause that to erode? And then what would the impact be on the stock price as a result of it?
Yeah, look, I think there's always been a debate around, and there's actually some lawsuits now about whether Tesla's been perfectly forthright with its financial disclosures over time, et cetera. And that clearly would be worrisome for investors if there were structural issues around either disclosure at the company or promotional activities that were not consistent with professional or legal guidelines. But ultimately, again, I think it does boil down to the fact that investors know Elon, and some have moved to the sidelines and said this reaffirms all the concerns that we have. which is, we're uncertain about the workplace environment. We're uncertain about the ability to retain talent. We're uncertain about the promotional activities and whether we're really getting 100% fair disclosure on all aspects of the company. And those people have voted with their feet. And there are others who say, this is a huge market opportunity with a visionary leader. We realize there are risks associated with it, but we're willing to stay with the stock for it.